Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hello, everyone. It is Becky Brown in for Steve Arterburn, and I'm joined by Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Dr. Joel Hubbard. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Becky.
I was just wondering if you guys can hear me. I'm so glad you're there. We are going to go straight to the calls, and we've got some that are on hold, and I want you to hold on, but we're going to start with Jennifer, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas. Watches us on YouTube, and you can watch us there too at our New Life station there. And Jennifer, we're just happy that you called. How can we help you today?
Hello, ladies. So happy to get to talk to you guys, or gals. So my question is about my son. He's 17. He's graduating next Friday from high school. I've been alienated from him basically for a while now. He lives with his dad and stepmother since about 2015. After I'd gone through some stuff, lost pretty much everything. I didn't have a job at the time, and so I had him go live, with them at the time. But anyway, unfortunately, his stepmother started vilifying me towards to him, and telling lies and things like that. And so this latest thing, so he's basically aligned himself with her and has told me that he doesn't want to see me, doesn't want to talk to me, things like that. It's been about 3 years since we last really spent any time together. Wow. The latest thing is, since graduation's coming, I have a gift and a card. His stepmother texted me a couple weeks ago saying some hurtful things and told me that my son has asked her to adopt him when he turns 18, which is in July. So there's a lot going on, and the last time I talked to my son was a couple weeks ago. He got really upset with me. He was already upset. He has anxiety anyway that he's had. He also was diagnosed as high-functioning autistic back when he was like 4, but my ex-husband and his wife have refused to accept that. They actually said they took him to a neurologist, that he doesn't have it, that sort of thing. So it's just been really hard. And my question, I guess, is should I still go to the graduation, even though he told me not to, and just kind of stay, away because I don't want to cause any, blow-ups or upset or anything? Should I mail his gift? Should I try and give it to him in person? I'm just kind of like in a rock and a hard place at this point.
Well, let's see what Jill and Jackie have to say. Jennifer, it is a tough situation, but I think there is some hope. So, Jill, why don't we start with you? What are you thinking?
Well, Jennifer, my heart goes out to you. I just, what a painful thing to go through, and to try to do the right thing by your son, and then to be so misrepresented. Right. So that's a hard thing. And so I think this is over the long haul work, right? In terms of repairing and mending a relationship with your son. It's little tiny incremental progress over time. And so you have to look at it as a long-term game. Right.
And with that, hold on, Jill. Okay. We've got the music going, and we're going to go to a break. But we're going to come right back, Jennifer. But, I wish I could say that you're the only person who's dealing with this. But the reality is there are other moms that are dealing with the same thing. And it's just hard. And I think we'll be able to give you some direction going forward. We're so glad to be able to offer help and hope to so many people. And we can only do that through your faithful support. And we appreciate all those who are giving. And we'll be right back with some more help.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Indianapolis June 10th through the 12th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Jennifer, who's really in a struggle with her son and his dad and his stepfamily. Jill, you were in the middle of something when we had to go to break.
Well,
and
right.
Just
that this is like, I want you to think, there's no one thing, and you maybe already know this, there's no one thing that's going to immediately change it, right? But in terms of you being as consistent as you can from afar. I mean, he probably has anger that you left, in a sense, right?
Right.
And so he's attached to whoever is there with him. I'm not sure what's going on with this stepmom. I wonder, does she have other children? But clearly she's getting her own needs met in this way by Xing you out.
And it's unfortunate because he being anxious and possibly on the spectrum and separated from his mom, he is attaching to who is available, and it's unfortunate that someone would put a child in this situation rather than be a bonus mom and give them the best of everything.
Right.
We're going to now limit,
and we're going to just erase that there was ever a past. Right.
And that past is a part of him. And so she may not realize, but when she is vilifying you, he is a part of you. And so there's a message in there that there is some part of him that isn't good enough, that isn't acceptable, unless he completely cuts you out and pushes you away.
So what would you guys say to Jennifer as far as the graduation and the gifts and just this kind of day?
I hate this for you. It just makes me so sad that is even a concern. Personally, I'd be at my child's graduation. I wouldn't. I heard you say, not, staying away and not making a scene. I would certainly not want to embarrass him, and so I wouldn't connect with anyone, any of the friends or family. I would just stay to myself, and I would send the gift so that it was sent. Whether or not they actually let him have it,
or even he knows that it was sent, you may never know that. But to try to give it to him is going to be upsetting to him. If you can stay in the shadows and just go and maybe take a picture,
because this is your son. It's important to you too, and at the same time you also want to let it be about him. So if you can stay out of view, if that's a possibility wherever the graduation is, personally that would be the move that I would make.
I would also, Jennifer, for yourself and for maybe down the road, I would start maybe a journal of letters to your son. I
kind of started that
already. I would start that and just date
like
it.
A website.
Right, just date it and have it. And so that someday if he is able to ask you, where were you or why, like, here's what was going on, and here were my thoughts about you, and here it was so painful, but I had to let you, be in the space that you were in, and but I never gave up wanting to be with you.
So, the other thing I'm thinking about too, Jennifer, is the fact that you were able to still talk to him, which is really good. But I'm wondering if we need we need to do a shift in those conversations so that you become a safe listener. And that you are not going to talk about some of these divisive things, no matter what he says. That's the hardest thing as a mom. But if you've got, if he's, first of all, he's 17, so let's just talk about teenage years. Those, it wouldn't matter what the situation is. Dealing with teenagers is challenging. But I want you to be the soft place to land. I love what you said, Jacqui, to show up but be in the background. Eventually, this will change. He's not going to live with them forever. And even to the point of the adoption.
He's going to be 18.
It's a moot point.
That's not a thing.
Exactly.
Nobody adopts 18-year-olds.
That's what.
Yeah. So,
Right.
and you
And
would
so-
never
I think
sign
that
off
that
on
was-
it anyway. You would have to sign off on it, and you're never going to do that.
Right.
Well,
And
not
I
at
think that
18, I
that
don't think
it was
so.
more of a-
No, I know.
Well, if he was developmentally
I
disabled and
think so.
delayed, then and he
would
were
extend.
if he were
different,
under conservatorship or something like that, then you might have to. But he's not, and they don't even acknowledge his neurodivergence. So
Right.
But the fact that she's saying to that to him as if it's a thing,
it's a thing that is concerning.
right?
Yeah.
She's
It
planting
feels
that idea.
manipulative.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
So
Well, Jennifer,
toxic
I hope
and
that-
manipulative. So.
Yeah, I hope that you're encouraged by something that we've said, and I think that there is hope. I want to encourage you. It's tough to be in this situation, but I'm so glad that you have gotten things straightened out for you. You said that you had gone through a really difficult time, so I'm glad that you got your feet underneath you again, and looking forward to hearing the rest of the story. You know, as time goes on, but we're going to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice. I think that'll help you in this process, and I love the idea of the letters too, Jill. That's a great encouragement. We're so glad you called. It's tough. Those are tough things. We're going to talk with Lisa, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, and listens on Sirius XM, and we're glad you held on there, Lisa. How can we help you today? Hi, Lisa. Are we on mute? Sometimes that happens. And maybe she is. I don't know. Well, hold on. We'll come back to her in just a minute. Let's try. We're going to talk to Kara, who's calling us from Washington, D.C., listens on WAVA. Hello, Kara. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing just wonderful. How are you?
Doing well, and so glad you called. How can we help you today?
You're breaking up a little bit, so I hope I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. But the reason for my call is because my daughter was molested when she was 5 years old. I've never had any trouble with this young lady, and now she's in her 40s, and she's been struggling all her life with anxiety, and she's in a marriage now, and it's not a good marriage, and her husband has been unfaithful to her all throughout their 15 years of marriage. She has 2 boys, and she's been staying in the marriage for the sake of the kids. And I don't know how to help her with the alcoholism. She's been drinking for several years now, and she's trying to cope with all this anxiety and stress on her job and stress with her marriage. And it's just a lot going on for her, and I don't know how to direct her. She's been to AA a couple of times, and what she tells me is that it's so depressing that it's really, really difficult for her to go to the meetings, and I don't know what to do. I'm at with them.
I hear your heart, Kara. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Well, let's hear from Jacqui and Jill. How would you encourage Kara to help her daughter?
Kara, you said that she's been struggling with drinking. She's tried some 12-step programs, AA, and she said it was just too depressing. And so I'm wondering, has she tried anything else? Has she seen a therapist? Has she been involved in any other type groups like a Celebrate Recovery or maybe Life Recovery group? What other things is she doing?
She has seen a therapist. That was several years ago. I believe that was mainly a marriage for her marriage, not for herself personally. So at this point, I think she really needs to get help for herself, because I see her going down, more and more through the years, and I just don't want to wait until, she gets so far down. She's drinking like every 3 or 4 days, and I just don't want to see her get so bad that, she can't help herself.
So it sounds like she's kind of hanging on by a thread and trying to hold her life together, but it's unraveling. So I agree that getting into therapy individually, she needs a place where she can just download all that's going on and grieve this and have somebody who can really hear her and help her sort it out, because she sounds very alone in a lot of ways in this family, with husband being unfaithful. That's so painful. So she's drinking to kind of just barely cope, and you're seeing that it's not working for her.
And do you know if she's maybe started drinking more over the past few years, or has it been this way throughout her marriage?
I think she had a period where she was actually depressed and staying in her room and, not wanting to engage with the family, though she did, but there are times like on a weekend she would just go in, and I think she was drinking while she was in the room. I boys, to be honest with you, but at this point now, I think the kids are starting to realize that something is going on. And
and I wonder,
I don't know what
Kara, how old are the kids?
14 and 11.
Okay. So they're aware, and this has been part, and as a grandmother, it's got to burden you even more because you want them to have a good, happy home. It's interesting that when we want help, we're usually at the worst possible level. We'll go to counseling, and then we quit before we get the work done. And so I think that there's a process ahead of her, and it's going to take a lot of energy on her part, which she probably doesn't have any right now. So I'm just wondering, you asked, the question was, how can you help her? And so I wonder, Jill or Jacqui, what would be some things from a grandmother's perspective? What could Kara be thinking about doing as far as helping her daughter?
Howie Love is going through my mind. She had a violation happen to her as a child by someone who should have been her protector, that has imprinted on her in a tragic way, and now she's in a marriage that is probably replicating the pain of her childhood. But this all just seems normal, and I'm sure she feels like she's dealt with the childhood stuff, and that's not an issue. But it is showing up regularly, and so I really do feel like the suggestion of her getting individual therapy, if that's something you can help her with or encourage her to. Also, we heal in relationship, being a safe place for her to come and talk and vent. And you have your own concerns for her, but sometimes our advice isn't helpful for our children. Sometimes we make suggestions and they hear, you're not good enough, something's wrong, they hear criticism. And so I would also be careful about that, but be an open heart and open arms and a listening ear for her, so she has some place to go that there's no judgment.
Well, and that you don't necessarily have to solve it for her. The actual giving her a place to vent about it is helpful. So seeing that is helpful. And I think with those boys too, they don't fully have their mom right now. And while they're launching into the teenage years and may not need her in the same ways, they don't need her to be absent. And so I think as a grandma, spending time with them, coming alongside and...
And I'm doing all those things. Good. I just took them on a trip. We came back. I'm preparing to take them on another trip this summer. And my daughter calls me, I'm not kidding, about 7 times a day. And I let her pour out on me,
So you have to be taking care of yourself too.
Oh, I'm fine, but I'm just now starting to get a little stressed because it's just not turning out the way I wanted to.
Right.
I wanted to stop, and she wants it to stop as well. She's such a beautiful person inside and out.
I'm wondering too, Kara. We're gonna give you a copy of How We Love, but I also wonder if it wouldn't be great for your daughter to go to Restore. With her husband being unfaithful and with all of this challenging, it would be a great weekend for her to set some time apart to really get to those core wounds that have been impacted by her relationship, and then she's turned into alcohol for relief. And we'll give you some information about that. We're so glad you called, and we're going to be right back.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 15th through the 17th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live. This is Terry McIntosh, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to remind you that your psychological well-being is an important part of your health. Millions of Americans are living with a mental illness or know someone who is, and New Life has many resources to help you personally grow and to better understand those living with mental health issues. All month long, we're running a sale on a variety of books, CDs, and devotionals to help you, so be sure to visit newlife.com to shop the sale.
Well, thanks, Terry Mack. I love that we're having a sale. And Jill, you said something earlier that sometimes reading is a great way to address our mental health. And I think that's a great statement.
No,
and,
it is, especially in the middle of the night when no one's available.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think so many times we don't even take advantage of the things that we have, whether it's a devotional or the Bible itself. It's amazing what we can learn by reading. We're so happy that you have joined us, and we're going to take calls, and we're going to go to Lisa, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, and listens on Sirius XM. Hi, Lisa. We're glad you called. How can we help you today?
Well, I deal with a whole lot of stress. I have been diagnosed with PTSD. I come from a very violent childhood, a very abusive childhood. I was married for 20 years. That was very abusive. He committed suicide behind me 2 years ago. My brother committed suicide. I had to have the police go inside and enforce entry and get him out. I took care of my daddy with dementia. That was very hard. He passed. I'm taking care of my mama now. She's kind of narcissistic, sociopath. She doesn't ever stop, but I am doing it. I worked for 38 years. I just quit my job in August because I can't do it anymore. My honey is the best thing in my life. He's very sick. And my dog come down sick a couple of days ago. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the Lord and spiritual warfare. And I have battled constantly all my life, and with Ephesians 6, and it has helped me. But sometimes I get overwhelmed because I can't help him. I can't do enough for him. He gets upset. I know he's not upset at me. He just feels so terrible. My mother, no matter what I would ever do, it's not good enough. It couldn't be enough. I'm trying to, in the process of building her a home on top of all of this. And sometimes I feel like my chest is going to jump out of my body.
Wow, Lisa, so much pain. We can hear it, and I'm so glad you reached out today. It is too much. Everything that you've talked about is too much. Yeah. So I want to affirm that in you. And I think that
I tried to get my disability. It's supposed to be 6 months, and I don't have nothing to live on. And it's been 9 months now. I called. They're supposed to have me a social worker. I called. He won't return my call, and his mailbox is full. And I know a lot of people cheat on that, but I worked very hard for a long time.
Jacqui or Jill, how can you encourage Lisa today, and what maybe some steps to get her going in the right direction?
Lisa, my heart's breaking for you. There's just so much that you're going through and have been through. The stress is a normal response to all of the weight that you're carrying and all of the care that you're providing. I'm curious, how do you care for yourself? What do you do for you?
Well, I just I keep thinking I'm going to be like Moses. I keep thinking that all this is just going to make me a very humble person later on. God's made me very strong. I try to just live an unselfish life. I want to be a servant.
You know, I have a reaction whenever I hear the word unselfish or selfish, because so often when we're being told that we are being selfish for thinking of ourselves, it's because someone else wants us to put ourselves out for them. And you have to put your mask on first. Your tank is running dry, and you are giving. How can you be replenished?
Right, and I think what happens is when we get in this mode of having to care for so many people, and you've done it so well, but over time we break down.
Yeah, you're depleted.
We can't take in all of that difficulty on us, and so we have a more difficult time as we get older in coping with all of that.
Right. There's just so much, and
yeah, I used to have a switch.
Yes,
I could just
and you can't anymore, right?
Put blinders on, blinders on, and just work even harder, do more jobs, work even harder.
It's not sustainable.
Right. Well, and then I hear,
and it was okay. But when I was 53, my dad died. My mama did some real dirty stuff to me, and anyway, but I'm caring for her after that. I forgave her. Everybody else left her. And I'm caring for her no matter what. And but anyway, my switch stopped working. I was about 53.
Well, hold on, Lisa. We're going to go to a break. You know, we all do have that switch, but just like what you were just saying, Jacqui, we need to do some maintenance on the stuff that we will break down. It's just too much. And all of the things that you're going through, Lisa, are requiring something from you, and so you have to find ways to fill back up again. And I know that you're a hard worker, and there's just been a lot going on in your life. When we come back, we will give you a few pointers on maybe some ways that you can get some refueling. But you know, we all struggle with that from time to time. We'll be right back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. July 22nd to the 24th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Lisa, who has had some horrific experiences over her lifetime and is just stressed to the max. And I know Jill and Jacqui, you guys have some direction for her as we continue on.
Well, you can't be a caretaker forever and sustain that, as we were saying, right, Jacqui? And so all caretakers need a caretaker. Yes. And that is where therapy comes in. Now, I know that's not always possible due to resources and things like that, but there are ways to get help. And Jacqui, you were saying like a therapist could help her with social services.
Yeah,
even.
We call it client-centered advocacy.
Right.
And so
she's having a hard time getting.
Yeah, they may be able to help her get connected with the disability payments that she needs, and then that might be able to help
and
her.
I'm even thinking of victim witness,
yes.
Having had someone commit suicide right next to you. Obviously she has some PTSD from
Absolutely.
that. Right.
So there should be supportive services in the Dallas area, but my guess is that Lisa's been so busy taking care of everyone else that she hasn't had the time or the bandwidth to be able to do the research and advocate on herself, on her own behalf.
So the good news about that is that we have a network of counselors, and Lisa, we're going to get you connected to a counselor in the Dallas area that can do the things that what Jill and Jacqui are promoting. And I think what was the book that you gave?
Take Your Life Back.
We're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and we'll be praying for you, Lisa, and know that
and
go ahead,
just
Jill.
to say, we don't want to minimize the fact that with Lisa, with you being such a caretaker of so many very difficult people in your life, and now with your dog being sick, that's been a main attachment for you. And that's nothing to minimize. That's been a safe place for you. And so
don't let anyone minimize that.
we want you to have some other safe places, and that's what we are advocating for you.
Yeah, and counseling can be that consistent intervention all along the healing path. And we're glad you called, Lisa, and we'll be praying for you and know that this is a really tough situation. We're going to go to Linda, who's calling us from Indianapolis, Indiana. Listens on WBRI. Thanks for holding, Linda. How can we help you today?
Hi. I've been listening to your show for a couple of months. On September 12th, I suffered a terrible tragedy. My I would call him my best friend. Ended our relationship on September 12th, which was my birthday, without warning, without a word. He was my school cop. I was a teacher for 9 years up until that time. And he was my SRO at the school, and he was married, and we had a very close relationship that had some physical, but it was mainly an emotional affair. His wife, when she was a breast cancer survivor, but her breast cancer came back on March 2nd of 2020, and that night he begged me for physical release, and unfortunately, I did it. From then on, he latched on to me, and it was a lot of phone calls. I was brought into his home in front of his wife. I am a born-again Christian, and I tried to get out of the relationship many times, telling him that I didn't belong there. He came to my house. I was always around him at school. I got called into the principal's office about the relationship. The cop didn't seem to care. Lots of phone calls, just very close. His wife died on August 15th of last year. He was on his knees in my garage the day before his wife's funeral, begging me not to go. There was no warning. My birthday was September 12th. September 11th, he took me to North Carolina for my birthday. On September 12th, he read me his therapist notes for 2 hours. And my feelings were hurt because he didn't say happy birthday. And then later on that evening, I asked him to say happy birthday. He blew up at me. Every time I tried to end the relationship, he would tell me I was making his heart spike. He was under supervision because he's a deputy sheriff, and he was having a lot of problems with heart. Had an ablation, heart issue with if his heart spiked too much, he would have to go to the hospital. And so every time I tried to end things, he said I was going to kill him, and pistol stuck the end of his gun, and it was just awful. Well, that evening he yelled at me and threatened to call police. Well, the next day his boss called me and said he wanted no further contact and that I was acting like a criminal. I went to his house to try to ask him what was going on, and he said, I will talk to you when this blows over. So I was confused and paranoid, and he told me people were watching me. It went into an investigation state, an outside investigation that investigates cops, took our phones. I was completely in shock. I had no idea this was going to happen. I went back to his house, and I asked him are we still friends? What's going on? And he said, I don't know what our future holds. So still to my face, he didn't tell me it was over. And when I went back again in shock, I saw him call his boss, and I was arrested, and I was forced to resign after 9 years of teaching.
Gosh, Linda.
My whole life turned around in less than 2 weeks. I left South Carolina. I moved here to Indianapolis. I've been driving for Lyft. I'm a spin instructor as well, which is something I'm still doing.
So Linda, your life turned around in 2 weeks. It sounds like your life turned around when you first got involved with him.
And I also want to know, Linda, how can we help you? Because I don't want to run out of time before we can answer a question for you.
I have tried to get counseling. I don't have any more health insurance. I'm a single mom. It's been 8 months. I've tried to contact him here and there. He's not responding because now his job is on the line, and everybody knows about it. The investigation, he accused me of harassing him, falsely accused me of a crime. The investigation came back 2 weeks ago saying I didn't do anything wrong, of course.
Right. So Linda, this relationship is clearly not good for you.
Right.
You said you're a born-again Christian. I know, you're a born-again Christian.
And I knew that.
Yes. So you're walking into something, and your emotions are getting entangled, and you're looking at all the nuances of it. But when we're standing at a distance, hearing this and looking at you, I just see like danger. This is dangerous. I know it hurts. I know it hurts so bad. But when we get involved in things that aren't right, it does hurt. It does hurt.
And I kept trying to tell him that I was a Christian.
But it's not about telling him. It's not about convincing him. Why are you looking to him to do for you what you needed to do for yourself?
And here's the thing about being a Christian. That just means that we believe that Jesus is our Lord and Savior. Your choices are still happening. So the being a Christian isn't protecting you from the danger of this. What is it that you need help with? You mentioned that you don't have like health insurance, and so you're not able to get therapy. Is that what your call for today is about? Are you looking for someone?
I've tried to get therapy. As a matter of fact, I had a psychiatrist appointment today, but it was just so expensive. And I am aware that I'm getting what I deserve.
We're not going to make a judgment, but we want to know how we can help you. You need to tell this story. I hear you. You need to tell this story.
My whole world.
Yes.
I'm triggered everywhere. Like I can't even. I see kids. I see students. I hear my students. One of my colleagues tried to talk to me. He's already got a girlfriend in December. He has a girlfriend.
Linda?
And she was told she couldn't. Nobody can talk to me because they're threatened with their jobs. I haven't eaten in almost a month. I've dropped so much weight. I've lost hair.
This is traumatic.
I am struggling with the fact that he came across as my best friend.
Wait a minute. Linda, wait a minute. We want to help. I know that there is so much that is being unpacked, and I know that you are doing this all on your own. This has been
yes. I'm in a new city. It's like trauma.
Right.
It's like it was trauma back to back to back.
Linda, when you move,
and so wait, listen. We're gonna help you after the break, but I think the biggest challenge whenever we've had this much trauma and this much toxicity in relationships, and then we have to move. Everything has been swirling for you, Linda, and so we've got to find a path towards the future, and it's not with this man. It's not to ask him why he did whatever he did or what none of that will make any difference in your future. The goal now has to be to find safe community, and I think we can help you get connected with that. I also think it would be helpful to get with a therapist. I know that you said you had a psychiatrist appointment. There are people that will offer services on a sliding scale, and they're all across the country, but there is hope for healing for you and a better new life. We're going to be back after this break, and we're going to help you with that.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do. Is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800. New Life.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're just finishing up with Linda, who's had a horrific experience these last couple of years. And Jill and Jackie, I know you have some great next steps for her as she confronts this.
Yes, Linda, you are struggling financially. You're a single mom. There's a whole lot going on. You've got quite a story that you really need to unpack with a professional counselor, professional therapist. And that might be out of your range financially. So my recommendation is that you go to www.in.gov. That's indiana.gov. So in.gov, and apply for Medicaid so that you can start to get some care. The psychiatrist appointment was expensive, but maybe if you're on Medicaid, that can help cover that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in the beginning, when we have felt so betrayed, we really need to talk it through over and over from every angle. And so we need that time with someone who can listen to our story and help us unpack it.
Because the person who you were involved with can't give you answers that are going to make sense. No matter how many different ways you ask the question, you're still going to get an answer that's not going to be helpful for you. You have to move forward with answering some questions for yourself, and that I think you're going to need a good therapist to do.
Right. And you know, clearly he was highly conflicted. Being married, his wife is dying, and in a lot of ways he used you, Linda, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that too. I was going to say that, Jill, is that the hard part is that you got caught into this web of deception, and so I just... We're all going to be praying for you, Linda. There is hope for a great future for you. Yeah. Stay on the line, and we're going to get you connected with a therapist in Indianapolis. We've got some great folks there. And we're going to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice, which I think can help you in this process of healing. Jackie, you had one more thought you wanted to share?
Yeah, Linda, you said, I'm getting what I deserve. And I just want to reiterate, we are not here to judge you. You don't deserve any of this. You made choices, and choices have consequences and repercussions, and so you're walking through the consequences and repercussions of your choices, but no one deserves to be hurt and harmed and manipulated and deceived in the ways that you have been. So we are not judging you, and I encourage you to let go of the self-shaming talk because that's not helping you get any closer to a goal of healing.
Right. You know, when things like this happen, it is such a shock to our system that we literally cannot think straight. Our brain disengages, and then to move on top of all of that can really dysregulate all of those things. But we do know that healing does occur in relationship and healthy relationships. And so as you get connected to a counselor, and then that counselor will help you get connected to a group, there is a great hope in the future. And if you're listening today and you recognize some pits that you have fallen into, there is hope, and we can help you get connected. One of the ways we do that is because we have so many people who provide for the ministry, and I know Larry is in to talk about some of those great people and what we have going on right now.
Well, thank you, Becky. My heart just breaks for someone like that. I sit here listening to you guys, and it's like, holy smokes. But I gotta think. I want to present the flip side of some of that. But first, I want to share with you and encourage you, please, to give to our matching fund. It's May 26. We targeted May 31 for it to be met. We're recording this program over a week ahead of time, so I can't give you a current update on where we are. Hopefully, we're getting real close to the end, but wherever we are, we're just seeking you to please make a generous gift. There's a lot of things I'd like to talk about, what God does to you if you give and you've never given before. It's a big deal. It means that something's changing inside of you, and you're putting your trust and faith not just in God, but in us as a ministry that is responsible to God for how we spend the money. And we spend it really well, because what we do here is simply to help people find that transformed life. We set them up for the Holy Spirit to come and move in and do a work. And it takes some first steps. And sometimes that first step could be making a gift, so you're part of something bigger than you, and you realize the difference it might make. So if you could make a gift to New Life, any size, we might not need as much as I'm afraid we might need then, but whatever you give, it will be matched, it will be doubled. And that's a big deal. And here's just another reason why I think you might want to give. This lady's name is Robin. She said, I've basically grown up with the ministry of New Life. My mom has been a huge fan since I was a teenager. She introduced me to Steve, Henry, and John's books, which we'd read and discussed together. I'm now 39 years old with 2 teenagers of my own. I'm a school counselor and use so much of the wisdom and healthy relationship skills that I've learned from listening to the radio and reading and studying your resources with my teenage students. I continue to grow and learn each day and am constantly inspired by New Life Ministries and all that you provide for people. Part of the reason I love that is here's a lady whose life is influencing a whole lot of others and younger people. And that's because she listened to the radio and her mom listened to the radio. What a lucky gal she was to have a mom that would read the books and talk with her about stuff that we talk about here on radio. So folks, when you make a gift, you're supporting not just New Life, you're supporting people whose lives are being different because you gave. You're the first domino that falls. And it's required. There's a lot of people that are participating in these first dominoes, but without those, we can't do what we do. And I'm kind of talking too much here, Becky, so help me.
Well, listen, nobody ever accuses me of talking too much.
Oh, yes, we do.
You, Becky.
But you know, yes, of course I talk too much. But you know what? I love to talk about New Life. And for the very reason that you're talking about it, Larry, is we are able to help people. Just like Linda, who called, who's struggling. And, you know, if it weren't for the partners who are giving to the ministry, we wouldn't be able to air the program so that people can, and we're some of the only counseling some people here. And so I just want to encourage you, and you know, during the month of May, any amount that you give obviously is going to be matched, but we'll also have a copy of our 100 Days of Freedom from Anger Daily Devotional, which I think can be very encouraging to you, can also address some of the underlying things that cause us to get angry, but it's also, you know, it might be a good gift for somebody who got a little anger problem. I don't know how they'd feel about opening it. Oh, do I have an anger problem? No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, the other thing that we do that makes a difference is our workshops. We've got Every Man's Battle coming up in a couple of days in Indianapolis, and tomorrow's the last day to save $200 on that workshop, but we also have scholarships available. Don't have any excuse. You don't have any excuse to not go and to take care of some of the stuff that is threatening to wreck your life. And we want to see you there. Larry,
what
did you
better summer vacation, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's a summer vacation.
I really want to challenge
to work on
folks.
yourself.
I really want to challenge folks who have not given. I know people. I was one myself. There was a radio ministry I listened to for years. Then I came to work at New Life and realized
you were convicted.
What a schmuck I was. Yeah.
Well, we're
and
such consumers.
I needed to
Right.
make a gift.
Yeah.
I needed to help these folks. They were helping others. And if you've never given, think about that and think about God's grace. You might think those people don't deserve the help they're getting, but by my goodness, none of us deserve God's grace. That's the thing about grace. And you could be a real tool of mercy and grace to somebody just by making a gift to New Life.
Wow, what a great way to end May too, right? To fulfill that whole match. It would be incredible to see how God would work in each of you, the listener. We're so grateful that you joined us today. We hope you'll share the show with somebody, encourage others along the way. Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you, Jill. And thank you, Larry, for being with us today. And thank you, listeners, always. We are so glad that you joined us today, and we hope something today has encouraged you, has challenged you, and we know it'll bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.